Hi, it's Miss Friedman again. So far in this unit, we've been talking about how rocks get broken down and then how that sediment gets moved from place to place by erosion. Now we're going to start to talk about how rock actually is formed. So I'm going to have you look at a piece of rock very carefully. I'll turn it different directions. You're going to think about what you notice about this rock and also what you wonder about it. What do you notice about this rock? I notice that this rock has lines on it. It seems to have almost like layers, like a cake does. I also notice that it seems like it has little bits, which I can actually get off here a little bit. I have two of them. If I rub them together, you'll actually see some pieces come off of here. You see on my finger, there's little pieces of the rock. So I noticed that it's made out of little tiny pieces that look almost like sand. And if you said that, that is true. This is actually called sandstone, and it is made out of mostly sand. So the question is, how did this sand turn into rock? Well, it's a process that we're going to learn about, and it's called sedimentary rock because sand is a sediment and it's made out of that sand. So let's learn the process of how sedimentary rock is formed. We talked about how sediment is formed. We've talked about how glaciers and water, the sand that's in water and the sand that's in wind, can break down rock into sediments. Then we've talked about how those sediments all get brought downhill by the river. And then eventually they get deposited into something like the ocean or a large lake. So what you're going to see in this picture now is you're going to see sediments coming from a river and being deposited on the bottom of this lake. And there the sediment is coming from that river, and it's building up in layers over time. Then what's going to happen is that these layers get really heavy, and so it pushes it down. That's called cementing it together. Then more sediment comes and gets deposited on the bottom of the ocean, and it gets so heavy again that they get pushed down. And eventually that forms layers of rock because they get smushed together so much they turn into rock. And that is how sedimentary rock is formed. When you leave this tab, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be um, answering a question about how sedimentary rock is formed. And we're going to remember that there's sediment coming from the river. It gets deposited at the bottom of the ocean or lake. Layers keep building up, layers of sediment keep building up on top of each other. That gets really heavy, so they get squished down. And when they get squished together so much, they turn into rock. And you can see that this is actually just layers of sediment that came on top of each other and they got squished together so much that they turned into rock. And we can still see the layers in there. The video is going to end now and go back to your tab and answer this question.